Mr. Barasa is already here in studio with me. Mr. Barasa, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Good morning.
Karibu sana. Let me take you through the front page of our local dailies. This is a Daily Nation. Ruto to Raila, stop the anarchy. Ruto to Raila, stop the anarchy. That is according to the president. State suspends refresher test for drivers in a bid to avert transport crisis. That is what we have here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Ruto to Raila, stop the anarchy. The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition will today resume its nationwide anti-government protest and signature gathering exercise aimed at stripping the government of legitimacy, quote unquote, even as President William Ruto vowed to maintain peace and order and accused the opposition of sabotage. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. And here again, Iranian President Raisi just in today after visit rescheduled. MOUs weren't ready, says ministry. That is why that visit did not happen yesterday. And of course, our reporter, Jacob Curia, is at State House and he'll give us that link once we get it. What we have on the front page of the Standard, intrigues behind the Ruto-Raisi botched State House meeting. That is also captured on the Daily Nation here. Intrigues behind the Ruto-Raisi botched State House meeting. The story says that Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi was forced to cancel his visit to Nairobi at the last minute, in what government officials said that was a delay in getting MOUs completed. But was this the reason for the diplomatic faux pas? That is French. All right. I'm told that we have got live link from State House. That we have it. Okay. That is the military officer there. I believe that is Major Gola there, with President William Ruto having a tete-a-tete before the arrival of the president. These are live pictures at State House in Nairobi. Iranian President, that is Ibrahim Raisi, is expected anytime from now. Media was invited in State House as early as 6:30. Live link from State House in Nairobi. President William Ruto with top State House and government officials having a conversation before that expected visit. Okay, very well. Moving on to the front page, lastly, on the front page of the Star newspaper, Ruto wants Raila as Azimio plots, quote-unquote, intense demos. Ruto wants Raila as Azimio plots intense demos. President vows to protect lives and property, accuses opposition of sabotage. That is on the front page of the Star newspaper. Okay, we'll get into more details as we get to have that expected visit by Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi in State House here in Nairobi. Right about now, let me have a discussion with Mr. Barasa here from Western Kenya. We want to talk about sugar industry. How do we revive sugar industry in the country? More specifically, to do with Mumia's sugar factory. It has been a white elephant for a very long time. So that is what we want to talk about here on The Viewpoint. Mr. Barasa, good morning and welcome to KBC Channel 1.
Good morning, my brother.
First of all, the sugar industry in Western Kenya is no longer sweet. Why is it sour?
Yeah, the sugar industry, or rather the sugar itself,
yes,
it's bitter. And the reason is the cartels have taken over the industry. So as you've rightly put it, Mumia sugar has become a white elephant because since times immemorial, like since 2011 when it started going under, we've been having leaders agitating for the factory to start operating, but that has not come to pass. Yes.
It has been a song for a very long time. Why haven't we seen any substantial change to revive Mumias back to life, generally?
Maybe if I take you back, the problem of Mumias, as I've always said, the cartels have taken over. And maybe if you allow me, because this is on record, Mumias started experiencing problems way back in 2011. You remember when Dr. Evans Kidero, the former Nairobi governor, was leaving. That was in 2012. There was this cane poaching. And the company that initiated the cane poaching is West Kenya Sugar. You know, the defunct Kenya Sugar Board gave West Kenya Sugar a go-ahead to put up a weighbridge in a zone,
yes,
which was under Mumias Sugar, that is Busia. And you see, Busia County is the backbone of Mumias Sugar. So actually, cane poaching contributed a lot to the downfall of Mumias. It's not the way people put it, that money was stolen. I'm not refuting the fact that money was stolen, but that is not the main problem, because Mumias produces quite a number of products. We have ethanol, which is key.
Yes.
We have power, of course, the white sugar. We have molasses and water. There's no way Mumias would have gone under. But you see, where I blame the government, because being a 20% shareholder, I think it slept on the job. Because if it would have acted swiftly and curb the cane poaching menace, I think Mumias would not be where it is now.
Yeah.
Because it allowed West Kenya to wreak havoc on Mumias. Thus now Mumias had nothing to crush, and you see the debts were really going up. And of course, politics also played a key role.
Yes.
Because leaders had different interests. Because one would come with his person of choice, maybe to lead Mumias, and that's how Mumias finds itself where it is. Yes.
Mr. Barasa, anytime you talk about Mumias Sugar, the only problem people, the one thing people usually see is one vibrant industry that all of a sudden collapsed and no longer works. And since then, it has been politics, promises, bailouts, privatization, etc., etc. At what point can we simply say that Mumias Sugar is going to come back to life, or seeing the situation as it is right now, people suffering? All right, let's come back to our discussion here in studio with Mr. Barasa, Joseph Barasa, who is the chairperson of the Western Development Initiative Association, and we want to delve specifically on matters Mumias Sugar. You know, anytime you talk about Mumias Sugar, one thing that really goes through your mind is the ripple effect to the farmers as we speak, from 2011 up to this particular point. Please, just before we get into that, paint for me a picture on what really the situation is on the ground. Okay, personally, I've been there, but to any person who's not been there, paint for me a picture on the situation.
Thank you very much. To be honest, the situation in Mumias right now is pathetic.
Yes.
Like, there's no life. You go to Mumias, the town is literally lifeless. But maybe before we go to that, before you went to live streaming at State House, there's a question you had asked about maybe what has made Mumias to arrive at this point. Allow me to say that our Western leaders, they have a share of blame. And why am I saying this? You know, these are leaders that have been using Mumias as a platform. Whenever they want to campaign, they would always use Mumias as a platform. The reason, they will not, most of them, they will not allow Mumias to roar back to life. And a good example, I was just saying the other day, we were hosted on your sister radio with the Mheshimiwa Salasia. who is the area MP. Because you remember that the person, the MP that Peter Salasia replaced, that is Benjamin Washari. You know, the reason he did not vie is not because the guy is old that he retired. No, it's because of Mumias. Because he had lied to his own people for far too long. So I think he foresaw that he will not be voted back. So I think our leaders also have an equal share to blame. You remember in 2013, Western Development Initiative Association, WEDIA now, we went to Parliament. We petitioned Parliament just to come in and see how best they can save Mumias. So you remember that petition was played around with the MPs. And in fact, the same Benjamin Washari is the first person who rose on the floor of the House to oppose the petition. Until the then Speaker, the Attorney General, Justin Muturi, he had to stand firm and directed the Agriculture Committee to debate the petition. A report was made.
Yes.
You had MPs were being bottled right, left, center. So I think Mumias, if our leaders could just come together, I think Mumias would have some hope. But from the look of things, if we don't unite to speak one language, I think the life of Mumias is at risk. And you see, who is to suffer here is the farmers. Because you remember, before the cane poaching menace, Mumias was controlling half of the market. But now, Mumias is no more. But you see, my brother, what pains me a lot, maybe coming to that, Mumias is no more. Mumias is dead. It's only that we are fighting up and down to see that Mumias revives. But you see, there's a lot of sugar in the market. And who is doing this? Allow me to take you back in 2018. In 2018, government raided godowns. Among them was pan paper, where sugar worth more than 250 million was recovered. And who owns pan paper? No, pan paper is the same guy I was talking about. Just one try, the owner of West Kenya, because this is the guy who is in the center of all this mess. Because one, he owns four sugar mills in Kenya. That is Sukari in Thiwa, Olepito in Busia, where I come from. We have West Kenya in Kabras, and of course the new entrant, the Naitiri. So in 2011, when he first applied to put up a weighbridge in Busia, remember I told you Busia is the backbone of cane supply to Mumias. Kenya Sugar Board rejected his application on the ground that the guy had West Kenya. Already, he had been issued with a license to put up a factory is in a place called Bilibili in Bungoma. So on those grounds, Kenya Sugar Board knocked West Kenya out. On the same grounds, the reason now I want you to connect why I'm saying that the cartels have taken the sector hostage.
Yes.
And the lead cartel in this matter, because it's not secret, it's in the public domain, is one, you just won't try, because he controls the sector. When, remember, Mumias was under receivership, Mr. Rao. So West Kenya was among the companies that had shown interest. But he was knocked out on the basis that he controls almost half of the market, the sugar market, and he has 4 factories.
And what's the problem with that?
Because if he would have been awarded, then that's automatically leading to monopoly.
Yes.
Yes. Because remember, he's controlling 41%. Yeah. So adding him Mumias, then that is like now we are giving the whole sector to Jaswant.
Yes.
The reason he was knocked out. But now, I always say, I've been saying, this fight is not about Jaswant and his brother, Sarai. That is Sarbi Rai of Sarai Group. This is a Ugandan company. It's not about the fight between the two brothers. This is a fight between Jaswant Rai and Mumias.
Okay.
Who revives Mumias? So for Jaswant, he wants to control the sector.
Yes.
Remember, right now, if you went to supermarkets, it's not justifiable why sugar is shooting. Yeah?
Yes.
But there's a lot of sugar in the country. Do a spot check. Go to these supermarkets. You will find that the shelves are dominated with one brand. And if there are two, then they all belong to one person. That is Kabra Sugar and Dhiwa Sugar. All those brands belong to Jaswant Rai. And there's a lot of sugar. Remember, as we speak, there's no sugarcane, because we are still operating below capacity, because I think our production now has declined. From in 2011 we had a deficit of 200 metric tons, but as we speak, I think the deficit has risen to almost 500,000 metric tons.
Okay.
But remember, the shelves are full. There's a lot of sugar in the country.
I'll talk about that, because I mean, when you talk about infiltration of sugar, we have got plenty of sugar, as you say, but this has also been blamed on the importation of sugar from outside the country. Remember, we had sugar importation from Italy.
Yes.
Uganda has also been accused of importation of sugar. Some of the farmers said that they don't want sugar to be imported from other countries, and yet we have sugar in the country. What have you done to stop this as an association?
I've told you that we petitioned.
Yes.
And there's a report to that effect. Crisis facing the sugar industry in Kenya. There's a report. It was adopted. The report is lying there. So it has not been implemented.
Yes.
So everything was captured, because even as we speak, because not only sugar, even some factories have gone to an extent of even importing sugarcane, from the neighboring countries, because there's a factory which I'll not name because we have an issue with it. It has taken me to court because of that. It leaves the farmer. It ignores the farmer.
Yes.
Crosses the border, buys sugarcane, and leaves the sugarcane in Kenya to dry in the shambas. Why? Because it's cheap.
Okay.
The point here is cheap, because these are shrewd businessmen. Because for one, this is sugarcane that is cheap. Yeah. Why would you then go for sugarcane that is locally planted? You better go for the cheap one.
But this could be because of the ripple effect, the cost of production. I mean, talk to the farmers, they tell you the cost of production, the farm inputs, now making them to raise their sugarcane prices. That's why someone would opt for going for sugarcane across our borders.
But you see, if you are given a license to serve the farmer, why would you cross the border to go and look for sugarcane outside the country and ignore your farmers?
Is it sabotage?
Yeah, that is sabotage, yes. And the reason we are saying, there is a bill now. There's a bill in Parliament. This is the sugar bill of 2022. I think for me, what I would really plead with government, especially our good President William Ruto, is to whip his MPs, who are the majority in Parliament, to pass that particular bill. That bill has very good stuff in it. But one thing I've come to understand is that, again, the same cartels, they have held Parliament hostage because they want to remove some clauses that are beneficial to the farmer. So I think, to me, what will save the sector is not about us coming to the studio and talking about sugar, but for that particular
Why haven't you called out politicians, because you've correctly put it that it's about politics that has made Mumias to drop under. But why haven't you called out the politicians and said, you know what, gentlemen, you have to stop this? The president was in Western a month or so ago, and he promised that he's going to do something about it once and for all. Mumias has been bailed out over and over and over again. Billions of shillings pumped each and every time, but there is no sign to it.
No, we have called out on politicians. But one thing I told you that these are people with their own personal interests. Because remember when this sugarcane poaching menace started, that is 2011.
Yes.
No politician ever rose to say maybe to fight for the farmers. They were all mum. So I think our politicians is a high time. I call them to order. Because the electorates, majority of them are sugarcane farmers. So I think it's just a high time that they come together and maybe speak on behalf of the farmer. Because where we are headed, we are not headed in the right direction, because I think we are going to lose the sector. And all what we'll be seeing is sugar importation, nothing else. Because that is the end game. Yeah, because that is the end game.
When you approach Mumias town and you just drive past the main gate of Mumias sugar industry, that particular area was completely flooded with sugarcane years ago. As you approach, you know, the junction heading to Busia and towards the entire region was a sugar belt. But as it is, a lot of farmers has actually opted for other methods of farming now. They've opted to do either maize plantations right now. Do you see a situation where Mumias sugar will come back to life? What is your future? What are you seeing?
No, Mumias sugar can still come back to life, and I'm optimistic that will still come back to life. If government really means business to crack the whip and fight the cartels out of the sector.
The president said that he's going to support it. Have you received any indicators?
I cannot really say yes, because as we speak, Mumias is in court. And you see what these people are doing. They are fighting Mumias from all corners. Because the moment they take Mumias to court, then they are left to do their own things. Because right now, Mumias, I think, is in court until September, when some ruling will be made. Look at the 2 months. What will be happening? It's about sugar importation. Yes. So I think the president should just be serious on this thing and crack the whip to save Mumias. Mumias, you asked a question. Do we still have hope that Mumias will revive? Yes. Remember, this bill that is before Parliament talks about zoning. And without zoning, but the cartel, Mumias itself is pro zoning with a reason. But the cartel are against the zoning. They want a free market. You get the point? So if that clause is not removed in that bill, Mumias, we still have hope that Mumias will revive. Because people have said that maybe we have no land. Land is there, because in 2011, when Kenya Sugar Board was doing its survey, Busia alone, where I come from, the reporter that they came up with a report that Busia only can service 3 mills. So as we speak, Busia has 1 mill. And you see that was the backbone of Mumias. So this particular clause that I'm talking about, the zoning clause, it's very important, because it was borrowed from the Oparanya task force, because it talked about the zoning. You know, it's different from the previous zoning, which was zoning per miller. But this particular one, you know, it is divided into 2 clusters, the upper western and the lower western. So Mumias falling under lower western, so it's only zoning that can make Mumias revive. But without that, because, you know, this guy has muscles, he has 4 factories, as I said. So you leave the market to be free, then he will mess up Mumias. It's like, my dear brother, you've got 2 sons, yeah? One is sick and emaciated, yeah? The other one is healthy. Then you put their food for these two children to feed from the same plate. What will happen? Of course, the healthier one will finish food even before this, as this one struggles to catch up. And that's the situation we find Mumias in. Yeah. Mumias is a sick child. So let us pass the bill with that particular clause of zoning, so that Mumias falls under the lower Western, because it went all the way to Siaya. Yes. With that only, Mumias will survive.
Mr. Barasa,
yes.
A few months ago, Kenyans woke up all of a sudden and found Mumias sugar on our retail stores. And you're saying that Mumias is dead. Where did this sugar come from?
No,
and branded Mumias?
That is not true. That is not true. Mumias is not functioning, and there's no Mumias sugar.
Personally, I have seen Mumias sugar here in Nairobi.
Tell me, after this show, I'll go straight to that particular supermarket we're talking about to see whether there's Mumias sugar. There's no sugar. There's no Mumias sugar. What is happening, this is a smear campaign. In fact, I came across that picture, that photograph. It is one that was making rounds.
I saw that personally.
What did you see? The sugar or the photo?
The sugar itself.
Which supermarket? Because I've gone to this. You cannot. Yeah.
Name withheld. But personally, I saw. That's why I asked. A few months ago, like 2 months or around few months ago, we had some packets of sugar across. Then all of a sudden, it disappeared. Because
for me, the question that has been raised is about, you're the first one telling me that, but the question I've been asked is about the pictures that have been making rounds. You see?
Yes.
But you'll find that the same picture, I saw it on Twitter, I saw it on Facebook, I saw it on Instagram, the same picture, not two. So this is a smear campaign to taint Mumias as maybe not being able, or the investor behind Mumias not being able to revive Mumias, but his plans is to repackage. But I told them this. In 2018, government raided Pan Paper. We have a clip to that effect. Why can't they also raid that particular joint where Mumias sugar is being repackaged? Yeah, to compare. Because this is a smear campaign, just to taint this guy as not being able or not being serious about Mumias sugar. Yes.
There's a day I had an interview with the Governor Fernand Barasa, sometimes in March, and he said that his government is very keen on reviving the sugar industry itself and to support farmers. Have you had any discussion with the Kakamega governor?
No, we have not had a discussion with him, but what I know is that he's supportive.
Yes.
Yeah, he's behind Mumias. He really wants Mumias to roar back. But you see, the problem here, and this one we must point it out. The problem here is one person. And this person is none other than West Kenya. That one I can say in black and white. Because this guy wants Mumias at all costs. And I'm repeating this. It's not about Sarbi, the brother. This is about Mumias. Mumias dying, it's good for him. So Mumias would rather be in his hands, but not somebody else. Because the moment Mumias roars back, then he's done. Because his sugar importation will come to an end.
And so how has privatization made or hastened the collapse of Mumias?
No, I cannot say that privatization has heightened the collapse of Mumias. No. But, let's not beat around the bush. Mumias has only one cure. Only one cure. You tame just one try. Remember, this guy controls the sector with 4 sugar mills. With 4 sugar mills. And he wants Mumias in his hands. So the moment we tame him, then Mumias will survive. It's not about privatization. No, this thing started way back in 2011. Because this cane poaching menace I'm talking about, it was initiated by West Kenya for the main purpose to deny Mumias raw material. And this is what we are headed now. The moment Mumias is wiped out of the scene,
yes,
then we are left with West Kenya. Yeah.
Let's talk about cane poaching. You raised it, and I really need to understand what it really means, and even to the farmers, and generally to Mumias as a sugar milling company.
No, cane poaching is a situation whereby a farmer is contracted to a specific miller.
Yes.
But now a miller who does not want to go an extra mile to do what we call cane development, he finds it easier to go to a farmer just because a farmer out there maybe is hungry, for quick money. And maybe his cane is not even old enough. So he ends up buying that cane, not taking into consideration that this is contracted cane.
Yes.
That is what we call cane poaching. And that's what has brought Mumias to its knees. Not about the theft that we are talking about. No. As I said, I'm not refuting that people never stole. You see? But that only if government could have just acted swiftly to curb the cane poaching, Mumias would still be crashing to date. But you see, it allowed West Kenya to wreak havoc on sugar cane meant for Mumias.
I wish you had West Kenya here in the studio. But have you had any one-on-one conversation, or even his representatives, to iron out the issue of Mumias once and for all? Have you, as an organization,
with West Kenya?
Yes.
Yes. When we were doing, when we petitioned, we had a one-on-one. That is in Parliament. But you see, along the way, I think the guy is still, is still determined, to control, to monopolize the sector.
Yes.
And so this is what happened even in the timber industry. So I think we should not allow ourselves to head to that direction. I think government should just do what is supposed to do and tame this guy, or else we should forget about the sector and import sugar. Okay. Yes.
Mr. Barasa, when you talk about sugar industry, a very key player here are the farmers and the people who used to work for Mumias. They have highlighted their plight over years. Some of them have gone into depression. Some of them actually have even died. Some of them are sick. They have their bills still pending with Mumias. Have you followed up so that they can get their dues paid?
Yeah, there's that case.
Yes.
We are trying to talk with the management to see that. But you see now the problem. Much as we are putting in effort maybe to mediate and maybe to talk to the management, but you see the management itself is not even allowed to operate. Yeah. So your question is valid. So I think government should do something just to make sure to support this guy. Let Mumias operate, because there was this issue of there's no way we can be talking about maybe former employees to be paid when Mumias is not even allowed to operate. Yes. Because you will see that now that question is neither here nor there. Yeah. I think what we can maybe pray is for government to intervene. Let's put politics aside, because what is playing here is politics. Because you remember even the president himself, my good President William Ruto. There's a time I think he's being misadvised. There's a time he stood in a public function and said that he was going to kick out Sarai. Reasons best known to him. But the president is not a bad man. I think he's being misadvised, because people they are saying that, this is a guy who was brought in by Azmio. Yeah. You see? But whether he was brought in by Azmio or Kenya Kwanza, at the end of the day, this guy is an investor.
Yeah.
And you see, KCB, who are the lead creditors, yeah, they went to Uganda to see for themselves.
Yes.
Because this is not just hot air. They went to Uganda and they saw what that guy was capable of.
Yes.
Because they managed to see, because he runs 3 mills. That is Kriya Ndogo, Hoima, and Kinyara. And they're doing very well. The reason, they said that this is the right guy to run what? Mumias.
Yes.
So I think I just want to appeal to our good president. Let us support this guy. Let him operate.
How much money is needed to bring back Mumias back to life?
No, it's not about money now. Because already this guy has been released Mumias for 20 years.
Yes.
Because this issue of bailout, it was better, it would have worked, yeah? That is before leasing Mumias. You get the point? But once Mumias has been leased to an investor, it means this guy now is pumping in his own money to operate Mumias as he pays the creditors. You get the point?
Yes.
So the issue of bailouts, I think to me, is not a bad thing. But at the same time, I think I'm not for the idea. Because going back to the sentiments passed across by our good president, that he wanted to kick out Sarai, then that would automatically mean I bail Mumias out, then I bring in another investor.
So if I got you right when we started, so it's not... I said that it's former boss, Kidero, who killed Mumias, as per what you said, is it?
I said this, if you got me right. I'm not saying money was not stolen, yeah? But that money alone would have not killed Mumias if government acted swiftly to curb the cane poaching. But look, here money is being stolen, and here Mumias has nothing to crash. So what do you expect? Where we are now. Yes. But if Mumias had enough cane to crash, in fact, it would have paid the debts. Remember when Kidero, now let me take you back. When Kidero was leaving Mumias, that is in 2012, already cane poaching had started a year back.
Yes.
Yeah? So there was a debt of, there was a loss of 1.6 billion. So when Peter Kibati, who was his commercial director, took over, he fought so hard to bring the debt from 1.6 billion, take me right, my brother, to mere 73 million Kenya shillings. In 2013, go to your records. 73 million shillings. But what happened? Politics started taking center play. That's when now the local politicians, instead of giving the new management support, they started bringing in their own people. So they kicked out this guy, they brought in the other person. So the loss started swelling from 3 billion, 4 billion to where we are now, over 10 billion.
In a nutshell, assume you are given an audience with the president and the task force, and you have got 30 seconds to tell the president what to do to bring Mumias back to life. What would you tell the authority in 20 seconds?
I think what I will tell my president, and that's what I've been talking about. As we are speaking right now, Mumias is in court. Mumias is in court until September. I think let Mumias be allowed to operate. Yeah? These also, let us not also allow people to use the courts to bring down Mumias. Then lastly, let him, because I've heard him on several occasions, that he will lead from the front to make sure that he has fought the cartel in all sectors. So let him lead from the front. And I know he's capable of doing that. Just to grab the whip and bring these cartels to order. Yes.
Mr. Barasa, thank you so much. The issue of Mumias, we can talk about it until cows come back home. But you see, at the end of the day, something has to happen, because you can imagine the ripple effect, the farmers. The other day when I was Mumias, you could see the sugar field is completely bare. I think some farmers burnt down their sugar belts and their sugar farms, and it's sorry state of affairs there. And even the settlement, people who used to work there, the tractors are all dilapidated and dismantled. Nothing is happening. We just hope that something is going to happen to bring Mumias back to life. That is the sour state of Mumias Sugar Factory. And of course, it's also affecting other companies. We have got Kibos Sugar, we have got Miwani, we have got Muhoroni, and so far we need to do something. And the president is quite categorical that he's going to make sure that industrialization is working the country. Let's take a break. When we come back, we are still waiting for that link from State House. Remember, the Iranian president is visiting right now. They're still holed up in a meeting with his host, President William Ruto, in State House. That is Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi visiting the country for a 3-day visit. We have got MOUs to be signed and other bilateral trades also be signed. Let's take a break. When we come back, Jim Kane continues after this. Stay with us. Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you.